Dear friends, welcome back to a new episode of my modular castle series. Today I'm building the fourth module of my castle, the Deacons Chapel. As with the other modules, I start with the pathing of the floor. In the center of the module I used tan and dark orange to represent the chapel floor. Besides many tiles, I also placed some plates where later the furniture of the chapel will be attached. Around the edges I used again a mix of round tiles, tile modifieds, plate rounds and tile rounds. The outer walls are built up in the usual way. With plates I first marked the shape, then continued with bricks and slopes to create the lower wall section. On the left and right sides I added Technic bricks with holes and brick modifieds so that this module can later be connected with the others. Next, it's time for the angled wall elements. I already prepared them and you can see how they complete the lower part of the wall. The two 1x2 panels set up the space for the large church window that will be added later. Then I add another layer of bricks on top of the angled walls to secure them. Of course, some plants on the outside should not be missing. Once this part is done, I move on to the interior of the chapel. I start with the altar, which is built from wood and covered with a white cloth. On the altar you can see candles, a goblet for the priest's wine and a cross. Now I continue with the inside walls. On the left side I raise the first wall. As you can see, I leave small openings where the church windows will go. I use many of the old 1x1 brick modifieds. Their advantage is that they are open on the back, which makes it easy to place the windows there. For the window technique I used turntables without the rotating plate. Transparent plates can be attached to them and create a classic church look. Of course, benches and some decoration are also included. The inside of the chapel is quite small and because of that I decided to place the benches in alignment with the side walls of the chapel. Now I prepare the entrance area. It is quite detailed, but it works well and gives a high level of realism. Candle holders are also a must here. Then I continue with the second wall, built in the same way as the first. I already used the technique for the windows in an earlier mock called the Lionites Church. It is not my invention, I found it in the forum, but I really like it. Now the interior of the chapel is almost complete. Only the door is missing, so the chapel can be closed. Next comes the masonry of the module, which I built further up. I add the wooden wall structure on the left and right sides. With round bricks I create the look of wooden beams on which the plates are placed. The slopes make sure that the roof will later sit in the correct position. Now I build up the outer gable wall and finish the wall segments. For that I use the 1x2 arches in light bluish grey, the same ones I used in the rest of the castle. It is now time to install the large church window. I used the same technique as for the side windows, fixing it at the back of brick modifieds. On the front side I prepare a mechanism for the bell. Of course, a chapel must have bells that ring when the worship begins. The idea is that people of the castle can ring the bell from the outside. For this I built in a gear rack, which is connected to the bell with a gear and can move it. Before that, I finish the gable wall and then install the bell. Yes, it works. The bell moves when I pull the lever on the outside. A small mechanism that I really enjoy. Then I continue with some outside details. I build a small roof in front of the church using the typical colors of the Lionites, dark orange and medium nougat. Almost at the end, only the roof of the chapel is missing. Again, I use a reddish-brown substructure and the same colors as for the small roof. The exact order of tiles and plates does not matter. The important thing is to create an irregular look. One side of the roof I add now, the other side I had already prepared in the same style. And with that, the fourth module, the Deacons Chapel, is finished. Here it is also shown with minifigures. In the video you can also see the bell mechanism in action. A villain of the castle rings the bell and the priest welcomes his people to the worship. On the walls there is, of course, also space for guards. At this point I want to thank Cultbricks again for the wonderful custom mock minifigure. The chapel can also be nicely illuminated. You can easily place a light source inside. To finish, I show you how I connected this fourth module with the 3 existing ones. There are different ways to do it. I especially like combining the Deacons Chapel with the Butcher's Corner. Of course, there are many other possibilities. You can try out different options and be creative. The castle is growing, taking more shape and coming to life. What do you think about the current state of the castle? How do you like the combination of the first 4 modules? Write it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next video, where I will continue with the Exil's End, Module 5 of my modular castle series, Lux.bricks.